Hi everyone, sorry to um, record my presentation like this, but my laptop doesn't support the recording option for Zoom for some reason, so I have to get my presentation this way. But I'm doing my research on geographic location in relation to foreign language recognition. So my independent linguistic variable is are different languages with distinct characteristics, and then the social variable is people from regions of varying population densities, so like rural and metropolis areas. And I'm going to be testing 12, specifically 12 people, and the age would be around college to middle-aged people from various geographic areas. My research question is, do people in larger cities recognize languages more accurately than rural cities? For the operational vocabulary, it's important to know that metropolis is a capital or chief city of a country or regions, and rural in general geographic area is a geographic area that is located outside of larger cities and isn't highly populated. And for this study, language characteristics is being defined as distinct features in written language that visually make one language clearly discernible from another, which I'll talk about later. And I also included the definition for enclaves, as that kind of plays a role in my presentation. So there's a portion of territory within or surrounded by a larger territory which inhabits or whose inhabitants are culturally or ethnically distinct. So this is kind of like K-towns, Chinatowns, things like that, where it's a cluster, a cultural cluster within a larger city, but it doesn't have a name. So for my literature review, I didn't find much specifically speaking about my topic, but a large part of my research is understanding the differences of languages. So I wrote as an example that like what I was looking for as far as the characteristics of languages, and it shows that in a German podcast, they specifically pointed out that the specific characters were distinct to or were unique to the German written language. And then also, as in terms of Korean and Japanese, it talks about how the language was formed culturally, and also how Korean is blocked for every syllable, while Japanese writings don't have any spacings, which led into research about how languages, certain languages trigger different parts of the brain, which can affect someone's ability to recognize. And my words got cut off a bit. So that just shows that certain languages, because of their shape or the way that they are written, trigger different parts of the brain. So my hypothesis is that metropolitans, or people who live in the larger cities, will have a higher percentage of people who can recognize the foreign language, just because they are surrounded by more people, so they have a higher chance of being around people from different cultures. For the methodology, the participants will be people, again, around the college middle age or middle age from various regions. So I plan to have 12 in all, and then 6 from the metropolitan age or the metropolitan area, and then the rural area. So the group of 12 will be split in half, metropolitan to rural, and then within those two groups, all the participants should be from varying locations. So from a metropolitan in the northeast, the southeast, southwest, and then the same for rural. And as for the assessment of what I would give them, I would give a short assessment for the recognition of languages, inquiry about how much foreign content the subject has consumed. So basically, just a open-ended question about what they have encountered as far as foreign content, just anything not in their native language that would give them some kind of exposure to potential exposure to the things that I assess them on, and also just a inquiry of where they're from and if they are aware of the enclaves around them, the foreign cultures in their area. As for the procedure, I would first ask permission, and then inquire about the general details of where they live first, just to ensure that I'm selecting people from different areas, and then have the participant fill out the assessment to the best of their ability with no outside assistance. And then again, inquire about if and how they are familiar with the certain languages, and review the relationship between the familiarity to the geographic location, the population density, and proximity to certain enclaves. For as far as the discussion, the strengths would be that the study would cover the most major regions of the city. So because I would try to use people from different areas, it in theory should reflect on a larger population. However, that also could be the weakness of my study, just because of the number of participants that I would have access to. I can't as right now realistically access a large enough number of people to maybe get the results as accurate as I would like. But for future studies, I could use a larger sample, potentially use more languages, and also more closely focus on the subjects in relation to the nearby enclaves. And this is just a example of the test I would give them, like how I would ask them to recognize the certain languages. So yes, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.